Hey guys, I got something really special for you today. I've done my artifacts for the Titanic that I have for you guys. The small bits of the rusticle and the wood and the charcoal and pieces of the charcoal. But I got a real treat for you. I've been waiting for this to come in. And this is actually a piece of the rusticle, a large piece, not a speck, from the R.M.S. Titanic. Alright, I am so excited about this. Like I said, I've shown you guys my artifacts from the Titanic before that were very small. This is actually a large rusticle that I had gotten. Let me show you the paperwork. And number 154 of 200. So let's get it open. Alright, so I got it out of the packaging. They packaged it really well. And it's got the seal on it, so I don't want to rip this, so let's get the seal and put it to the side and we'll open the box. Look at that. White Star Memories, R.M.S. Titanic, the Legacy Collection. Exclusive relics from the darkness of the deep. You can see the beautiful ghostly shot of the bow. So let's get it out of the box. So I got it out of the box and it's wrapped in plastic. You can see the lovely picture. Let's get the plastic off and you'll be able to see it better. Okay, so I got the plastic off. Let me show you guys the box. On the front, it's got that White Star Memories logo in gold. And you can see it's the Legacy Collection and that beautiful illustration of the Titanic coming out of the deep, R.M.S. Titanic. And this is kind of a sleeve, so let's see if I can do this with one hand. I'll remove the sleeve and we'll see what's in the box. Put that over there. Nice, look at that. The Legacy Collection. White Star Memories. And like it said on the packing slip, this is number 154 out of 200. Let's see, what is that? There's something on the side of the box. That's the number, 154 out of 200. And that's it. So let's... Alright, to open the box, it's got the magnetic flips. You flip it open and you open it up. You can see the Legacy Collection. And it's got some paperwork, and you better believe I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to put up photos of every single page of this. And I'm going to go through the book with you. Put that aside and show you guys the certificate of authenticity. This to certify that the undescribed herein was received from the wreck site of the R.M.S. Titanic, Rusticle Fragment. This certificate of authenticity certifies that this rusticle was recovered by the Research and Recovery Dive Team, R.M.S. Titanic Incorporated, expedition from the wreck site of R.M.S. Titanic. The rusticle is verified as unique and authentic. D.M. Barton, former Director of Operations, R.M.S. Titanic Incorporated. And this was on 15/12, that's 20. So December 15th of 2020. A lovely picture of the Titanic, issued by White Star Memories Limited. You can see the website, Number 154 of 200. And that's sweet. That is nice. The authentic signature. And of course the can. All right, there we go. All right, I don't know what these are. These look like little bases, little stands. Is that amazing or what, guys? I've got the chills right now. Wow. Wow. This is an actual piece of the Titanic. Wow. I'm speechless, guys. The history that's right here. It looks like it comes out of the box. I'm going to take it out of the box to give you guys a better look. So I took it out of the container. You can see the box, really nice heavy-duty box. And let me show you guys. It's got a nice frame. Rusticle Fragment, R.M.S. Titanic, the Legacy Collection. And look at that. Not that long ago, this was down at the bottom of the Atlantic. The R.M.S. Titanic. Look at that. Wow, I've got the chills right now. This is just amazing. An amazing piece of history. Let me show you, maybe you guys will be able to see it better if I put it on the white background. Look at that. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. That is amazing. That is the R.M.S. Titanic. Oh my goodness. Show you guys the back. It's in like a small film, like a vacuum sealed film. It looks like actual paint, like a little bit of the paint from the hull, the black paint of the Titanic. Oh, this is just amazing. Now, I've shown you guys artifacts from the Titanic before, guys. I don't condone going down there and raiding the ship. You know, the bodies and everything, that the people, the human lives that were lost there, that's different. I don't condone touching any of that stuff. But the ship, while I don't really want to see the ship destroyed, I got mixed feelings about this because I'm blown away at this. I don't want to see the ship like ravaged and sold, because I don't know. I wouldn't give this up for the world. What do you guys think? Put your opinions in the comments. You guys, do you think it's right to bring up artifacts from the Titanic, or should it just be completely left alone? This is amazing. I'll treasure this for the rest of my life. This is amazing. And the little baggie that these are little clawed feet that you rest this on. You put it up. So let's see if you can see it better if the paper's behind. All right, so I showed you guys the certificate of authenticity. Rusticle Fragment. WhiteStarMemories.com, D.M. Barton. So let's go through the book. I'm going to put this to the side. And let's see, the first thing, we got the cover. R.M.S. Titanic, the Legacy Collection. And like I said, guys, I'll put up high-definition photographs of every single page for you to follow along with. So what's the first thing that we got? The Legacy Collection. The Legacy Collection is a limited edition, uniquely highly collectible relic recovered from the wreck site of the R.M.S. Titanic. 2 limited edition sets are currently being released, one featuring a piece of coal, 401 pieces, and the other comprising of fragments from Titanic's hull. The big piece from the other and from one of her bollards, 250 pieces of that. Each set comes with a certificate of authenticity signed by Dick Barton, former Vice President of R.M.S. Titanic Incorporated and dive expedition leader. You can see the piece of coal. Each set is represented in a sealed display frame that comes in a special presentation box, complete with full-color descriptive booklet. That's the coal. Box sets contain one display frame with either coal or bollard, big piece fragments. And the one I have is the Rusticle Fragment from the hull. Moving on to the next page. The Legacy Collection relics were recovered from R.M.S. Titanic Incorporated, R.M.S.T. Research and Recovery Expeditions led by former R.M.S.T. Vice President of Operations, Dick Barton. And I'm wondering if that's a picture of him. Dick was the first ever Briton to visit the wreck of the Titanic and completed 22 dives during his time with R.M.S.T. Incorporated. He was responsible for managing R.M.S.T.'s The Titanic artifact collection of over 6,500 recovered artifacts. You can see the sub, recovery sub. Dick Barton is a respected speaker of the subject of Titanic, principally on the complex salvage operations and the conservation and display of artifacts at exhibits worldwide. In addition, Dick was a consultant on the making of the 1997 movie Titanic with James Cameron. In subsequent ongoing documentaries and operations, he has worked as an underwater cameraman, with his footage having been used in numerous television programs. White Star Memories is privileged to have worked with Dick Barton in producing Titanic, the Legacy Collection. Moving on, caring for your Legacy Titanic collection. Your Titanic relics were recovered from the wreck of the site, 40 meters below the surface of the sea, and have been conserved under controlled conditions in order to preserve them for future generations. In order to best maintain their conserved condition, we recommend taking some simple precautions. Do not remove relics from the display frame. This has been sealed in order to protect from adverse environmental conditions. You can see it's like a vacuum sealed film that has the fragment in it. I'll have to get a good camera. Someday I'll get a good camera that can actually focus on things that I want it to focus on. Handle the frame carefully when it's not in its presentation box. and take the necessary care to prevent the protective membrane being punctured or damaged. Do not expose the display frame to strong sunlight, extreme hot or cold temperatures, high humidity, or wet conditions. We recommend that display frame is kept in the presentation box to best preserve your collection. However, should you wish to display the frame as part of a collection display, we recommend that you use frame display feet. These are available for purchase. And these are right here. I had shown you guys these little feet. And here's a warning. Breaking the display frame seal, removing the frame contents, or not observing these precautions will invalidate any guarantee and right of return. So, this one moves on to when it comes to the coal from the Titanic. I showed you guys one of my pieces of coal from the Titanic exhibit that I had gotten back in, the early 2000s. I got another one, but I'm not going to show it in this video because I haven't showed it to you guys yet. That's the 100th anniversary piece of coal. So, let's get back to the information on the coal. Titanic could hold over 7,500 tons of coal, and there are variable reports on how much coal was on board at sailing, but just under 6,000 tons is a generally accepted estimate. Steam for the two reciprocating four-cylinder triple expansion steam engines and one centrally placed low-pressure Parsons turbine was produced in 29 boilers that contained 159 furnaces. Approximately 600 tons of coal per day were shoveled into the furnace around the clock by a total complement of 176 firemen. There were 73 coal trimmers who handled the coal from loading to maintenance in the bunkers and delivery to the firemen. As for the waste product, about 100 tons of coal ash were disposed of at sea each day. It is estimated that Titanic sank with approximately 2,500 tons of coal out of the original load, and the coal has been recovered from Titanic's ocean floor debris field since 1987. The full story of Titanic's coal, however, is far more comprehensive and well worth further study. You can see above Titanic's Scotch Marine fire tube boilers took almost 12 hours to heat up in order to produce steam at the required working pressure. You can see that beautiful picture. Moving on to the next page. You got a nice picture. What is this picture? I'll show you the photograph. The debris field coal sold previously was incorrectly labeled as anthracite, which has the fewest impurities and the highest energy density of all types of coal. Therefore, it burns far too hot and would have caused serious damage to the boilers. Although not exclusively used in the production of steam for ships and railway engines, steam coal was most suitable and mined in the specific areas of the United Kingdom, in particular South Wales. It is impossible to state exactly which mines produced the coal used by Titanic, or majority of the fleet of ships owned by Cunard, White Star, and other shipping lines that operated out of Southampton. But the most productive and suitable ones were those in the Rhondda Valley, one of the world's most important coal mining regions between 1860 and 1939. Some of the most notable were Six Bells Colliery and Albertillery. And again, I'm sorry I'm mispronouncing and butchering this word. Glenerhonda in Blaencoom, and Big Pit in Blaenavon, Torfaen, which is now a National Coal Museum. I apologize for butchering these words. Moving on to the next page, you got another photograph. Above, miners working on an underground seam by hand, the roof above them supported by wooden pit props. You know, that's before they had OSHA requirements, I'm sure, and these men weren't working under the best ideal conditions. The process of mining coal at the time was labor-intensive and extremely dangerous. This was a harsh, tough environment, and coal miners' lives were notoriously short, either through injury or most likely lung disease. Many of them had worked underground since the age of 13 and had little or no prospect of any other employment. Death below ground was commonplace, one horrific example being the loss of 439 miners following an explosion at the Universal Colliery in Sangandid near Caerphilly in October of 1913 in Wales. No less than 57 million tons of coal was produced in 1913 by 232,000 men working in 620 mines. That equates to almost 250 tons a man per year. As an incredible feat, yet Titanic would consume one miner's annual yield in just 10 hours. The coal seams were up to half-mile deep and could extend for miles underground. The coal dug out by hand would be loaded into small wagons and then drawn by ponies or horses to the base of the shaft. It then would be brought to the surface. These animals lived underground and would only be brought back to the surface after their working lives were over, if they survived that long. Well, that's a depressing prospect. So they went through a lot for this piece of coal. Moving on to the next page. We got another picture. Let's see. The picture. Although often referred to as pit ponies, most of the animals used in Welsh collieries were actually horses. They were used to transport coal from the collieries to the consumer, to power winding and pumping engines, and most importantly, to move coal from the coal face to the shaft, where they usually were around 15 hands high, a hand being 10 centimeters, with horses being measured to the shoulder. However, some ponies of about 13 hands were used for light haulage duties. And on it, that's what this picture is. There was an extensive network of railway lines in South Wales valleys, devoted to bringing coal to the steelworks and distribution for domestic locomotive use throughout southern England, and of course to fuel ships. Linking the South Wales collieries to the ports was probably financed largely by coal owners in the South Wales valleys, the dock owners and marine interests. The dock owners and marine interests. These quickly amalgamated into three main companies: the Taff Vale Railway, the Rhymney Railway, and the Barry Railway. Moving on to the next page. Above, coal barges lining up to load coal on the Titanic's sister ship, the R.M.S. Olympic. The outriggers can be seen on the outside of the promenade deck bulwark. You see a nice picture of the Olympic. Again, focus. There you go. These are really small pictures, but I'm going to put them up in high definition, so hopefully these pictures look really nice for you guys. Loading the coal into the ship's bunkers was another laborious and filthy job, as coal dust would invade many areas of the vessel, so it would require extensive cleaning afterwards. As you can see in the image of the Olympic, the side of the ship would require washing down, another task to be completed by hand. The coal sacks will be hoisted from the barges and pontoons by a rope and gin block pulley system, operated during outriggers attached to the outboard bulwarks of the A deck, up to the coal doors, then into the chutes to fill the bunkers. However, not all of Titanic's coal came from the collieries in South Wales. 1912 saw the first national coal strike by miners in Britain. Its main goal was to secure a decent living wage. Nearly 1 million miners took part in the industrial action, and on the 6th of April, after 37 days, the government intervened and ended the strike by passing the Coal Miners Act, establishing a minimum wage for the first time. The strike caused considerable disruption to many trains, shipping schedules, and to the White Star lines were no exception. No doubt, many, go on, continues on the next page. Prospective passengers canceled their travel plans because of the strike, and this is probably the reason for Titanic's maiden voyage being poorly supported. But many of those who did travel were lucky enough to be transferred from other laid-up vessels in the fleet, such as the SS Oceanic. I don't know how lucky they were. Extra coal was brought back from England from non-British ports, and it also believed that extra coal sacks were even stockpiled in some of the second-class public rooms on board the Olympic and brought back from the USA. Of course, Titanic was also coaled in Belfast before her departure on 2nd of April. Samples found in Titanic's debris field have undergone various scientific studies, and in 2003, of the 20 samples tested, over 60% were of British origin, 20% were from the USA, and provinces of other 4 could not be clearly assigned. After 3 million years in the making, the full story of Titanic's coal is mostly forgotten. The substantial pieces of coal in the Legacy collection were recovered during the 1994 expeditions and are offered for sale, courtesy of Dick Barton, who is vice president of the R.M.S. Titanic Incorporated during this time and has legal title to these precious items. It is very doubtful there will be even more recovered. So this is a unique opportunity to own an incredible, rare Titanic relic. And I'm thinking that this is a piece of the coal that was recovered back in '94. Again, I had done a video not too long ago on this, and I can put the link for this video in the description for you guys. Moving on to the next page, they talk about the big piece, and that is where the rusticles from this artifact come from. And I had done a video on this, showing you that as well. That piece that was recovered, they had cleaned off, and the rusticle piece is in the frame, along with the wood and a piece of coal. The big piece. It was 1996 when the first attempt was made to raise a 26.5 foot by 12.5 foot section of the starboard sea deck hull, behind which were the luxurious suite C-79, decorated in the Louis XIV style, and C-81, a white-paneled Georgian-style stateroom. Both were believed to be unoccupied during Titanic's ill-fated maiden voyage. Following the ascent of the seabed and just 200 feet from the surface, the cables from the 6 diesel-filled flotation bags snapped, and a 17-ton steel section tumbled all the way back down to the ocean floor at a depth of 12,415 feet. Man. 2 years later, on the 10th of August 1998, a second attempt using 5-inch nylon ropes was more successful. Man, that's a bummer. You can see by the photos above, render of Titanic's starboard hull showing the location of the big piece outlined in green. So the green section is what was recovered. The bottom picture, the big piece breaking the surface. And that's when it was recovered. And I got to see that as part of the Titanic exhibit. All right, moving on to the next page. I love the pictures. This picture is a luxurious suite C79 that was immediately behind the 25-foot section of hull, known as the Big Piece. You see, that's beautiful. To stop further deterioration of the steel, the Big Piece, as it became known, was transferred to a conservation facility in St. Paul, Minneapolis, where the hull section spent 18 months in a desalination sodium chloride removal tank, with sacrificial anode blocks made usually of zinc attached. In September of 1999, it was transported to Santa Fe, Mexico for a further 3 months of desalinization. Then water jets cleansed at a pressure of 3,000 psi in order to remove loose, rusty fragments. The Big Piece was then coated with tannic acid to stabilize any remaining corrosion and treated with a microcrystalline wax to prevent further deterioration. The largest section of Titanic to be raised from the depths was now ready for display. And in this photograph, the Big Piece on permanent display at the Luxor Hotel exhibition in Las Vegas. I had seen it over here in New England. I had seen it at Foxwoods in Connecticut. And you just get the chills when you see that. If you guys have a chance to go see this, you won't regret it. Moving on to the next page, we got a couple more pictures. R.M.S. Titanic, the bollard. Titanic was secured to the dockside using 4-inch thick manila ropes tied to the ship's bollards. Some of the bollards were of the ventilating type. Holes in the top of each post assisted in ventilating workspaces in the third-class public rooms on the deck below. One of these 2.35-ton steel ventilating bollards was located at the stern on a third-class poop deck. As the ship sank, it broke off and fell almost 2.5 miles to the seabed. It was recovered from the debris field surrounding the wreck on the 23rd of July 1994. Like the Big Piece, the bollard had to undergo an extensive desalinization process to preserve it. The fragments included in the Legacy collection were recovered from the desalinization tanks after the stabilizing process had been completed. We got a couple pictures mounting details of the Titanic's ventilated bollard. The bottom picture, the bollard on the seabed. Moving on to the next page, we've got 3 pictures. We are honored to be able to include these fragments from the Big Piece and the bollard as part of the Legacy collection. They are offered for sale, courtesy of Dick Barton, who is Vice President of the R.M.S. Titanic Incorporated during this time and has legal title to these precious items, making this a unique opportunity to own a treasured collector's item. And I am so happy to have possession of this. It shows the first picture, bollard undergoing restoration. The ballad. The ballad on display at the Science Museum. And this page, recovering Titanic's coal from the seabed. This is a pretty cool picture. And again, this is part of the history. And then that's the end of the book. At the back we have the White Star Memories, whitestarmemories.com. So let's put that to the side. And again, put it on the paper so you guys can see it. This is just, I love this. I absolutely love it. Now, there are probably people out there going, yeah, you know, it's a piece of rust, big deal. I couldn't disagree with you more. This is just amazing. The significance of this, the historical significance, is just incredible. And look at that. It actually looks like there's paint there. That's a good shot. Let's see how close I can get. Absolutely love it. The bottom has the sticker, the seal of White Star Memories. And I'm not going to open it. I don't want to risk damaging it. Although you can see the hinges where it does open. So, this piece of the Titanic is a little more substantial than the pieces that I've shown you in the past. The little rusticle over there. You can compare that rusticle with this one. Again, I love this. I'll treasure this forever. And like I said, I have another piece of coal to show you guys. It's the 100th anniversary commemorating the piece of coal. Compared to this, well, it's probably a little smaller than that one. That'll be my next video. I'll do that for you guys so you can see all of my Titanic artifacts. But this was the Rusticle Fragment. This is number 154 out of 200. From the Legacy Collection. If you guys were curious about the Legacy Collection, maybe you heard about it and you were curious on what it looked like or what it was involving, and I hope this satisfied your curiosity, guys. And until my next artifact, I'll see you guys very soon.